Funding cuts coming sooner than you might think, not necessarily on the federal level, but possibly in your state. As you know, the Congressional Supercommittee failed to trim more than $1 trillion from our nation's budget over the next decade. The federal government has some leeway, but state legislatures are required to balance their budgets, and now governors are trimming away. Leslie Marshall is a syndicated radio talk show host and Fox News contributor. We're also joined by syndicated radio talk show host Lars Larson. Thank you very much for coming on. Lars, by failing to reach an agreement, the super committee jeopardizes the federal unemployment benefits of almost 2 million jobless workers. So in other words, the committee is actually taking money out of the unemployed's wallets.
Well, they're taking money that doesn't exist. And in fact, a lot of us have felt that unemployment benefits have gone on too long. How long are we going to run unemployment benefits? 2 years? 5 years? I mean, do we do it indefinitely if the economy doesn't recover? And by the way, that federal government is running on dollars, 42 cents of which are borrowed. And that's not healthy either. If the states have to take some cuts because the federal government can no longer hand out checks to them that are borrowed money, that's a healthy thing for the states to do. 49 of the 50 states have constitutions that require them to run a balanced budget. I don't think it's a balanced budget if you're using borrowed money from the federal government. Now, I certainly feel for the people who are unemployed, but we can't have unemployment payments go on indefinitely.
Leslie, what do you say for that?
Well, Lars, you're making happy Thanksgiving, buddy. You're making Black Friday blacker. Let's take it away from unemployment. What do we tell the kids about their school lunches? What do we tell people who are infected with HIV, the virus that causes AIDS, about their treatment? It goes further than that. I mean, Lars, I know that this is very exciting. It's titillating to you as a Republican, a conservative, to have more cuts. But this is, in all seriousness, Lars, in all seriousness, this is really affecting people negatively. And I predicted this. I predicted there would be no deal, and I predicted this would affect people not just on a federal level, but on the state level as well. And the states are saying that.
And that's a good point, because the real failure of the Joint Select Committee is not the lack of a deficit-cutting agreement, which poses no threat to the economy, but rather the failure to reauthorize the federal unemployment insurance programs that expire on December 31st. I mean, how much will the economy suffer, Lars, if they don't figure this out and the Super Committee fails to come up with ways to trim the country's deficits? How does the economy suffer in 2012?
Well, it actually benefits at some point when you finally bring the federal government to a realization that you can't live on borrowed money forever. When we have almost half of the federal budget supported on a credit card effectively, that doesn't make any sense. And the sooner we get to economic reality and force governments to make priority choices, what are the things you have to have? What are the things that are just merely nice to have? And you're going to have to do that at some point. We can't borrow, or I guess in the Obama administration, I guess we could borrow until the country is 20 trillion in debt or 25 trillion in debt, and where a third of the federal budget goes just to pay the interest. It's smarter if we come to a realization right now that these problems have to be fixed now, and the sooner you do it, the less impact there's going to be. You do this, 2 years from now, after we're another couple of $1 trillion in debt, we're going to be in real trouble.
Leslie, time is money. Time is running out. They gotta at least extend this if they're going to by December 31st. It's going to cost $200 billion this time around. Where do you think the cut should go then? The payroll tax cuts will be eliminated, the unemployment insurance as well, and those extensions. I mean, where do you make the cuts then?
I know it's going to be crazy, although maybe Lars would agree with me on this. How about their own salaries? $175,000.
I'd go for that.
That we're paying.
I'll tell you what, Julie.
We agreed. It's not even 2012.
Julie,
we agreed on something. Hey, look at. Here's the problem, Lars. I hear you, and I would agree that unemployment can't go on forever. But you can't say, look, and not just this administration, former administration also borrowed from China and other countries. You can't say, because we got to pay our debts back to the Chinese and we got to get our house in order. Sorry, you can't feed your kids. Sorry, you can't pay your mortgage. Sorry, there's no job for you to find. You can't just say cut, cut, cut and not provide anything to get the American people through. And that's what I feel that the people on the right are saying.
Leslie, through what? Another year? Another 2 years? Another 5 years? We've been told by a lot of economists this could go on for a long time.
The president himself has said this is not going to be fixed overnight.
But if 99 weeks of unemployment is not enough, is it 299 weeks? How long are you going to let that go on?
How
I'll
long
give you
is
a cut
he
where you
going
can
to
cut
let
a
it go
trillion.
on? He has said that he doesn't, and he has said repeatedly, and he said it again during his address on Thanksgiving, that this is not going to be fixed overnight. He's hoping that Americans just hang on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Americans hanging on are all those millions of people that are unemployed. They're hanging on to those unemployment checks. What happens when they go away? What future do they have as long as we're hanging on waiting for jobs to come out of nowhere?
They have to find the jobs. And right now,
Lars, why aren't your rich buddies providing the jobs? We've had 12 years now of the Bush tax cuts. That's what you say stimulates the economy and creates jobs. Where are they?
I got to tell you something. There are 15 million unemployed Americans. There are 3 million jobs that are available as we speak right now. Now, they're not necessarily the kind of jobs you want, but they are jobs that will get you through. And what all the economists have agreed on, I think, is that the longer you let unemployment run, the longer people will, in some cases, simply say, I'm making more on unemployment than I would by going out and taking a crappy job I don't want, so I'm going to stay on unemployment. The sooner you start to say this has to have a limit, the sooner some people will get up off the couch and go out and take whatever job they have to feed their family, which is, I think, what both you and I would do if we were in the same situation. Get the work you have to get. Now, I'll give you a cut.
We've agreed twice about getting off the couch, but Lars, was that just a tiny concession that the unemployment rate is not the president's fault, but some of the American people are making more and more comfortable getting an unemployment check?
Not at all. Not at all. Let me tell you something. A lot of the unemployment problem is the president's fault. Number one, he created uncertainty in the economy. That's not healthy for creating jobs. Number two, Obamacare, which is killing jobs right now. We should allow the other reforms like and then the EPA. Some of those regulations are killing jobs right now for no good purpose. Those three things, change those three things and give the economy some certainty and jobs will come.
Okay,
well,
Leslie.
I'm still waiting for the rich people to provide them. I want Grover Norquist to provide a heck of a lot of jobs because the Republicans made a pledge to
Leslie,
him.
the class warfare does not befit you. The class warfare is not dignified. The fact is,
this is
every
not
rich guy I know.
Lars, this is doing what you said. This is doing what you guys said. You guys said, you know what, give the rich guys tax breaks and they will provide Americans with jobs. It's been going on for 12 years.
Only when it makes sense.
Where are the jobs?
See, Leslie, you talk the way the president acts as though a rich guy should go out and just hire people to do things that don't actually earn a profit. If you do that, you turn rich guys into poor guys. But if a rich guy is allowed to go out and start a business where you actually make a product or a service using employees and then sell it at a profit, then you will have more jobs created. And the rich guys, yes, will get richer. I know that grinds on you, Leslie, but it's actually a good thing.
You know this, Lars. They are getting richer with their factories in China, in India, and Mexico. You're right.
And do you know why they're in China and India? I can tell you why they're in China and India.
Unions and regulations.
I think we're also talking
unions,
about
regulations, taxes.
I think we're also talking about a lot of these so-called rich that the government seems to think if you make over a certain dollar amount that you're considered rich when you're a small business owner and you're not rich and you want to hire, but if you're taxed more, it makes it very difficult to cover your costs and hire more. And maybe that's why a lot of these people need those unemployment checks. So it's sort of a checks and balance thing that it doesn't seem to be driving into Washington. But
and Julie, if you take the president's definition of rich, a cop in New York City and a teacher in New York City married to each other are considered rich by the president. Why? Because their combined income is going to be right at that rich level that the millionaire Barack Obama defines as rich.
All right. We have got to leave it there. Leslie Marshall, thank you very much for coming on. And Lars Larson, enjoyed your fair and balanced debate. Thank you, guys.
Merry Christmas.